And welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Colin Murdy, and today's topic is family legacy. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who's supported the company so far. If you haven't got a chance, go check us out on the web at murdycreative.co. That's MURDY creative.co. Or you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching at murdycreative.co to see the best of our product shots. Follow us, keep up to date with our daily photos, and be the first one to know about new product launches. You can also use the subscribe button at the bottom of our website to be included in all of our new product announcements. Be sure to check out our laser engraving, personalization options, and exclusive colors on the website, or you can get a blank one on Amazon Prime. So first and foremost, this week we are doing our Mother's Day stuff, so check out our website for that perfect gift for your mother and the special people in your life. You're also going to see probably some emails from us with that stuff, and there's all sorts of cool options that we have that are great gifts for Mother's Day. If you've been thinking about, I want to get mom something for Mother's Day, but you don't have a good answers about like what should I do, feel free to message us. You can use the live chat. You can send us an email. You can give us a phone call. We're happy to provide some recommendations about what we think are good options for gifts. But today I am talking about family legacy, and I am very excited right now. There's some personal family news that I've just discovered, and I'm very happy about that. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the challenge that small business owners face oftentimes in the future when they either pass on their business to their kids or there's other things like that. And I'm doing this now while my kids are very small because I want to talk about my thoughts on it now and see if they match up with my thoughts 40 years from now. And it's an interesting topic. I've known several business owners in my life. I've had, family relationships that include those. And I think that there is a lot of advantages to passing on your business to your children, if you can. And I also think there's a lot of dangers to it. So one of the big advantages and one of the good things about passing on the legacy to your children is that a lot of times your children, particularly if you start your business when they're young and you've got that for most of their life, I think they understand and they have a good sense of what the running of the business looks like in a day-to-day operational sense. I think a lot of them will grow up saying, okay, dad goes to work at this time and does this thing, and when he's at home, he's working on this, and they'll have an understanding of what that looks like. So when they step into the role, they can maintain a certain level of similarity, with that. There's also another advantage in that many times if you've grown up as a child with a parent and you have a close relationship with that parent, you understand and you can kind of see how they would think about things. You can understand the logic that they use to make decisions. And so when you are in their shoes and making decisions in some ways, not necessarily on their behalf, but you're making decisions to carry on their legacy, there is a certain level of understanding about, well, dad would have probably done this. It's an advantage to have that because there often can be some continuity in that. One of the challenges that also comes into play, though, is with that same kind of logic is a lot of times children want to make their own way. They want to prove to the world that they didn't just get handed this great thing. And that's a sentiment I can fully appreciate since that is what I did, right? And as a parent, there's a part of me that says it's my job to encourage my children not to step into my shoes, but to make their own path. And maybe it's for the best that I intentionally say, I don't want to pass on this business. I want this business to either go outside the family when the time comes, or maybe it's time for that it sunsets eventually. But the point of the matter that I really think is critical here is to say that, a lot of children often will say, well, I want to go my own way. I don't want this just to be my dad's business. I want it to be mine. And so they'll take the business in a new direction. And that can be healthy. A lot of businesses, particularly if the founder has been stable, stagnant is the negative word for it, for many, many years, a new direction, a new energy, a new mentality can be a very invigorating thing and can see huge changes. And an example of a business that I think struggled after its founder died is Apple. That's, I think, a very good example because Steve Jobs was pushing the envelope for what people believed was possible for decades. I mean, he pushed the mind of what computers could be and what computers should be in our lives incredibly far. And then he died. And I don't know if you've been watching, but it doesn't seem like Apple's really come out with major innovations since then. I mean, maybe you could argue that the AirPods were an innovation, but even those weren't really a new technology at the time. They were just an application of an old technology. And so that breakthrough mentality of we're not going to do just another phone. We're not going to do just another iPhone with an extra camera, or we're going to do another iPhone that's in a new color, something boring like that. But they're going to say, we're going to do big changes. And that's not to say that Apple hasn't done some great innovations, maybe under the hood, right? But saying we're going to just fine tune the performance of the internal back end of the company or the internals of the product. That's not really the way Steve Jobs ran things. Steve Jobs said, we're going to just totally change the way people listen to music. We're going to totally shift the way people use their phones. We're going to totally shift the idea of what the internet can be. And I think that that's a good example, or a piece of, a kind of a vision of what happens when the founding genius, the founding, idea person, that passion project of that person eventually goes away. And I think that children who step into their parents' roles in businesses often struggle with that unless they are also a genius in that same way. And that's, I think, relatively rare. I think very few children can, come out of the box in that same mentality as their parents, because people are raised in different generations at different times with different needs, and that changes the way you see things. It changes your perspective on things. So passing off that business to a child can be challenging. There's other issues where if that child, is not properly brought into the company, it can create real animosity amongst the employees. Because, and I think rightly so, because if you've been with a company for 20 years or 10 years, and then the boss's son, the founder, the owner's son or daughter, I'm not necessarily being that particular about that, steps into the role and says, well, now I'm in charge, but they don't necessarily know the business. Well, that's no good. That creates real problems, and rightly so. So you need to have a way, if you are planning to pass the business on to your children, to bring them into the business and give them opportunities to grow in their experience and succeed on their own, in their own right, within the business, so that the employees, the team members that will be potentially working under them someday, see their value and see their brilliance in its own way. But you have to ask yourself, what happens if you pass on a business to a child and they run it into the ground? And the reason I've been thinking about this a lot is because I can't imagine how difficult it would potentially be as a child who's to step into a father's role, to step into my father's role as let's just say he was the owner of a company, and let's say I stepped into that role and said, I'm going to run the company. Particularly, let's say, it's even worse if, dad's dead, right? And you have to step into that role, and then you crater the company. You all of a sudden are not just carrying the weight of, the death of your father with you. You're also carrying the weight of killing his dream and his legacy. And that is a huge weight for anyone to bear. And that creates a responsibility on that individual that is incredibly, it could be very dangerous and very detrimental. On the flip side, what happens if you say, okay, I'm going to leave the company in the hands, the stewardess of someone else, not part of the family, just someone else, and maybe my kids will retain ownership, right? Function as a board of directors, but I'm not necessarily going to have them do any of the operations. I'm not going to have them be in charge of anything. Does it lose something? Does the company lose something in that regard? And I think the answer is, of course, the company loses something. It loses its founder, right? But the bigger question is, does it lose some of its authenticity? But then you see companies that have been around for centuries. There are companies that are over 100 years old, and sometimes they're owned by the original founding fathers' family, or maybe they're part of that founding family, and maybe they're not. And how do those families exist with that, right? Because then you have the flip side of the problem is, well, what if the family is not in charge of running the operations of the business? They don't necessarily do anything involved in the business, and they own the business. And so now all of a sudden, maybe they're making decisions when they don't know the business, when they're not part of the operations of the business. And that can be dangerous. Or then you have the other problem with this, which is the money. What if the company succeeds wildly and becomes a huge profit-generating business and it creates a ton of revenue? If you pass that on to your children, the ownership of that business to your children, and they continue to receive the profits, but they're not involved in the production of the business, that creates a new problem. Because I don't think anybody should have a stream of revenue that they did not earn. I think that you have to, if you earn money from the fruits of your labor, And I'm not saying, by the way, that it has to be you going to work every day, right? I'm not begrudging the idea of passive income per se. But my argument is if you're going to have a passive income, it has to be the result of work that you put in initially to generate the system that creates that passive income. For example, if you go to work for 10 years, you save up enough money, you buy a rental property, and you earn passive income from that rental property. And then maybe you add the rental property generates enough income that you can buy another rental property. And suddenly now you've got a bunch of rental properties that generate, let's say you find a property manager that you pay, and so you don't really actually have to do a lot of work with that. Well, now all of a sudden you say, okay, you've got a large passive income. Yeah, but that came as the result of 10 years of hard labor to earn the initial money to create that investment. I think that system of hard work, building a passive income through that method, I think that's different than just being handed a revenue stream. And I think being handed a revenue stream in the form of a business, by the way, which is actually, I think, even more dangerous, because now all of a sudden your revenue stream is very related to the labor of others that was not, and you're benefiting from the work that your parents put in, which, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I think it creates an issue where if you have a revenue stream that you did not earn through your own efforts, A, you take it for granted, and B, it creates a very warping perception of money, and it warps your perception of value. And then on the flip side, to go back to the other direction, isn't it amazing to be able to say that as a parent, I could leave my children, something? I could build wealth, and then my children could have that. They could have the fruits. But is that really what a parent's job is? Is that really the responsible thing to do as a parent, right? Because you have to ask yourself, is it responsible for me to create a life for my children so that they don't necessarily would in a perfect sense of, right? Like what's the most American dream version of this, that they don't need to work, right? Well, that's not really good either, right? You don't want your children to grow up expecting not to have to do hard work, because it's important. Everyone needs to do hard work, not because they need the money, although they do, and not because it's the only way to survive. No. Or that it's good for society. No, that's not the reason that you need to work hard. That's benefits and that's good things, and you should do that for that reason. But the reason why you need to work hard is because hard work is the only way that you can gain a sense of accomplishment and ownership. It's the only way that you can gain a sense of accomplishment. It is that responsibility that is the thing that gives you meaning in many ways. Obviously, our meaning in life comes from God, and our purpose in life comes from God. But almost always, the purpose that comes from God is some form of work, right? That was the curse for Adam, right? You shall have to work the ground till the day you die. Like, this is the point. We are here in many ways to work. Now, I'm not saying you're here to work at your job, right? But you are here to do work, to do things. And so I think a parent has failed their child if they don't instill in their children the capability of doing work and working hard at work worth doing. And you're also stealing a lot of joy from them in that case. So this idea of, do you pass on a business to your family, to your children? The answer is that it's very complicated and there's no simple answer. And there's many, many circumstances that factor into this. There's many pieces of the puzzle that factor into this. And many times it comes up to the individual child, and it comes to the individual parent and how they were raised and the circumstances in which they're raised. It may be the right decision and it may not be the right decision. And I guess we'll have to see. But I'm excited to have to see that happen. I'm excited for the potential that could be my life, that could be a decision that I have to make in the future. It's exciting, right? Having a family is a huge blessing, and I am lucky to have a family that is wonderful. I've just been thinking about that kind of stuff today. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in today. Be sure to check back in Thursday for that next topic, and don't forget to check that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to get notified right away when we launch new episodes. If you have any questions or concerns about your leather binder, journal, folio, or any additional accessory that we sell, please feel free to contact us on the main page of our website at murdycreative.co. You can also contact us via Instagram and Facebook. You can text, email, call, direct message, all the usuals. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible, but we do appreciate your patience. If you have a quick question or you want to place an order over the phone, please feel free to call us at 414-434-9001. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. You can also text us at that number as well, 414-434-9001. 9001. If for whatever reason you don't get a hold of us either during business hours or after hours, please do feel free to leave us a voicemail. We do listen to them, we do respond to them, and we call you guys back when we have an opportunity to. If you are calling about a specific order, please include that order number. It starts with S and is followed by a series of numbers. That allows us to triangulate who we're talking to and what we're talking about if possible. If you think we deserve it, a good review can go a long way to help us grow. Both a review on the podcast on whatever app you're listening on, as well as a review on the product. If you go to murdycreative.co/reviews, you can read all of our amazing 5-star reviews. We love them. They're wonderful. There's a button on that page that says leave us a good review. If you click on that, it'll take you to facebook.com/murdycreative.co/reviews. And the question they'll ask is, do you recommend the Murdy Creative Company? You click yes, and then you can write your review. We love them. We read them. I read them out loud at our staff meetings, and everyone seems to appreciate them. If for whatever reason you leave us a bad review, there's another button there that says get directly in contact with us. It is deeply important to me that everyone has a good experience with the company. We will do anything in our power, including recrafting, refunding. We will take care of you as best we can. Please, please, please give us an opportunity to make things right before you leave us a bad review. Word of mouth is the best form of advertising, so please tell your friends and family about the company. If you want a little something for doing that, make sure to log in and sign in on the website. All you need is a username and a password. Once you're logged in and signed into the account and you can make any purchase you want, you get 10% back as in-store credit called Murdy Creative Coins. The bottom left-hand corner of our main page of the website is where you can see that rewards center. You'll be able to see all of the coins you've earned from a recent purchase and spend them there, but there's a shareable link in that page as well. If you share that with your friends and family, they get $10 off their first purchase, and you get $10 of in-store credit when they make that purchase. So it's a great way to share the company. Helps us, helps them, helps you. If you have any podcast topics you want to hear more about, send them my way. I'm always happy to talk about just about anything, and I want to give you guys what you're looking for. So send us a message if you'd like to hear about something specific. If you're looking for multiple binders, journals, folios, anything we sell for gifts, giveaways, menus, really any reason, we do have bulk discounts available. They are built directly into the cart. So all you need to do is add whatever you want to your cart. You can mix and match to your heart's desire. The discount is only based off the total cart quantity, the number of items you're buying. You can add mix and match to your heart's desire. Once you have that total cart built, you hit checkout. It'll automatically apply that bulk discount that's appropriate for that quantity, and you can check out right then and there. It's very simple. If you aren't sure exactly on what quantities you're looking for and you want to learn a little more about the bulk program itself, feel free to send us an email, sales@murdycreative.co. That's sales@murdycreative.co. We'll be happy to talk you through it. If you're looking to get a custom engraved item with adding a logo or something along those lines, we have no minimum order quantities and no setup fees. It's a simple flat fee, normally about $15 per item, and that's pre-bulk discount as well. But you can get just one if you want to get just one. Most of our products on our website have a button that says customize this product or add custom logo. You click that button, it'll take you to a custom product where you can add additional logos. It'll open up the customizer, you can build it, you can lay it out, you can resize and reposition things. Then you click add to your cart and you can check out that custom engraved item. Comes through our system, it ties the logo to the product and everything else, makes it very easy for us to do it the way you had it. If for whatever reason you're not able to do that with specific products, please send us a message, sales@murdycreative.co, sales@murdycreative.co, with the logo you'd like, the product you have in mind, and other things, any information about that. We'll be happy to create a mock-up for you of that product as well as a custom order link so that you can check out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and goodbye.